I was very impressed by the minister's statement that we're still going to be in trouble for quite some time. I mean, we made a statement quite early in the budget, because it's no use trying to deceive people. But I was also impressed by the fact that he said that there are measures that are going to be implemented to deal with corruption and fraud, and the appointment of procurement officers, etc. It gives one a little hope.
The private sector must be involved to help to make this infrastructure happen, and that there will be a summit within a month or two at which the potential investors, the social partners will be brought together to talk in greater depth about these infrastructural plans, which we do need for South Africa. We do need it for growth, we do need it for job creation, and in the long run we need it for our competitive position if we want to carve out a bigger share of world trade and world investment.
We're not happy about the fact that there was little mentioned about food security, considering the fact that grants are used largely to buy food. We had expected that the list of grocery items to be revised and exempted from VAT will be revised this year. But also in terms of electricity, understanding that this is the third year that Eskom is increasing the price of electricity, we expected the subsidy, the free kilowatts, to be revised upwards.
It is also important for the government to be listening to the people. The intervention on the e-tolling system in Gauteng is a reflection of a government that is listening to the people. We're hoping that now a deal will be struck and we'll move on.
I was very pleased to see that the Finance Minister has some incentives for small businesses, tax breaks for special economic zones. That's something that we have been championing to drive economic growth. And it was great to hear him talking about economic growth, but there wasn't enough about what exactly is going to create an environment that's conducive to job creating growth.
The critical challenge of jobs, we felt that he was very incoherent. He presented it in 3 times. The speech was all over. It was not a single package, so that we can be convinced that government is taking forward its new growth path as well as its industrial action plan in a most comprehensive way. It is very difficult to then deduce from the presentation of the speech as to whether we're going to really address that 35% unemployment rate in the country.
Obviously, the focus was on infrastructure development, which we support 845 billion rand over 3 years on the productive side of the economy, which we believe will go a long way to stimulate the economy and to provide jobs to address joblessness and unemployment. The challenge, of course, is going to be to spend that money correctly and to address fraud and corruption. And the Minister did emphasize that aspect. We need to make sure that a lot of that money is not wasted and does not go to fraudulent transactions or is underutilized.
The elephant in the room for us is the issue of whether government have the capacity to do all these things that is on paper, whether they're going to implement it in a correct way. And therefore, trade unions and the federations and producer will have a role to play to ensure that we monitor the proper implementation and to ensure also that no corruption is taking place in the process, because these are huge amounts of money and we can't make the same mistakes that's been made during the World Cup infrastructure investment plan.